The world of Ooo is such an amazing place because there's constantly something new around the corner that we have never seen before, or something that is completely unexplainable, and that sense of mystery is something that hooks in a lot of viewers. What I personally think is the most compelling about that is the fact that there could be something completely out of the blue for one singular episode that could somehow make a lasting impact on not just the viewers, but the characters in the story as well. The story is able to reinterpret something that was seen as almost insignificant in a sense in order to be something that's really meaningful and interesting. Our expectations of what that previous thing was would be completely flipped on their head, and obviously the show does this a lot of the time with many interesting plot points and things that are subtly thrown in there into something that is very, very meaningful. But since I was thinking about this video around the time of Halloween, I wanted to consider something that's a bit spooky. Sort of like Shoko's first ever appearance, I wanted to talk about something that I thought was pretty interesting, which is the episode Blank-Eyed Girl. And I'll just say right now, I'm a huge fan of the movie that the girl is based off of, The Ring. Highly recommend that movie. I think it's absolutely incredible. I wanted to talk about this episode and how I think this is an amazing episode that exemplifies the theme of flipping those preconceived notions on their heads, because I find it really, really compelling. We just hit 8.25k, so we're only 1,750 away from the tattoo goal. If you guys want to help support the channel, and especially now, my headphones got kind of messed up literally earlier today. I don't know what happened, but hey, we live in the scuffed lifestyle, I guess, so if you want to support, that'd mean a lot. Now, the reason I like this episode so much, besides it being absolutely hilarious, is the way that it's able to tackle the themes of people having preconceived notions and being unable to change from those preconceived notions. And obviously, this is done through the use of Starchy's radio show that Jake seems to hate, but Finn seems to be a fan of. And those two dueling personalities right there are really, really cool, because Jake is constantly the denier of these claims, while Finn is more of a listener. He constantly is inquisitive of what Starchy has to say when it comes to the Blank-Eyed Girls, while Jake is obviously absolutely horrified. Jake is more of the rash character in this point of view, which I find really compelling, but Finn, being more open-minded, makes sense because he's so young. As the episode continues onward and we actually meet the Blank-Eyed Girl, and the Blank-Eyed Girl comes to Finn and Jake's house and starts doing a bunch of quote-unquote creepy things, we know that Finn is constantly asking Starchy, what is it we have to do? And Starchy is unable to come with any real answer as a whole. The Blank-Eyed Girl isn't like any of those things that they've seen before. It's all because of these sort of expectations that are put onto these other things that they just kind of slide them onto this thing. And I find that really, really compelling, because it shows how a lot of people have that sort of lack of effort to actually get to know something that they can't understand, so they would rather correlate it with something else. And obviously, I think a lot of these themes are something that we've seen in the real world time and time again, with a bunch of people getting sort of homogenized into one distinct thing, when in reality, everyone is pretty different. The only reason that so many people view something as so exoticized and different is because they haven't gotten accustomed to it in their own lives, whether it's something they grew into as they grew up or something they knew ever since they were a kid. But people can learn to grow and understand other things if they put the effort in and don't focus on the narrative surrounding these things. I think a similar example of this is the twin girls from the movie The Shining. Now, is there anything inherently scary about them? Nothing creepy about them on the outset. However, when you look at it from what the movie is presenting to us, it makes it very creepy. They're the only other living human beings in the entire hotel. They are somehow appearing completely out of the blue, and the fact that they are completely alone and appear in the middle of an empty, abandoned hallway, it allows Stephen King to create this sense of horror that is seemingly inescapable because of the complete unknown of what these two little girls are meant to be or meant to represent. And it makes you actually fearful of what they are, which is crazy because they're just two normal little girls. Now, I want to get into something that I think is really, really compelling, which is the fact that they start to realize that a lot of the claims around the Blank-Eyed Girl are only a thing because a lot of people started hearing about it around the same time Starchy started his radio show. And I think that's another really interesting point. While this can easily be interpreted as a reference to The Ring, since the plot of The Ring is a rumor being spread around until it grows to be something that's actually real and manifests, I think that this point has a lot of merit to actual real-world things that happen, just like it does in the actual film. A lot of people only start to think about something when it becomes popular in the media to be discussed. However, they might be a thing for a significantly long period of time beforehand, but because it's not popular to talk about, people just don't care about it. It shows that when people have an excuse to talk about something, they will make up these grand claims or these crazy over-exaggerations to make sure their voice is heard, while not actually understanding the point of what that thing was. And that's why I think the fear of the unknown is a really great theme for this episode, because a lot of people are so scared of what the Blank-Eyed Girl could be because they don't understand that they don't even try to understand as a whole, which is why I absolutely love the ending of this episode and the entire lead up to it. Yes, there is a lot of absolutely creepy things that happen, like the fact there isn't just one, that there are actually like 6 of them that have been in Finn and Jake's house the whole time, but they aren't really doing anything necessarily creepy. Breaking into their house, that was kind of creepy, I'll be honest there. Then, obviously, the end of the episode happens, and they take the eyes out of their head, and they take their hair off, and then they spin their heads around like it's like that piggy bank I have up there. However, after they're freed from this Blank-Eyed Girl persona, they leave and they transcend to be this cloudy looking species that I can't even begin to comprehend, and I think that's intentional. It's supposed to be something you can't even begin to wrap your head around, and I think that was purely done by the people who wrote the episode to get you intrigued as to who these people actually were. They were constantly called the Blank-Eyed Girls, but clearly that's a complete lie, because that's just some sort of husk or vessel for what they actually are. And I think that is a great way of showing over-exaggeration, the oversimplification, when in reality it's something completely different. But because of the labels that were put onto it, now it's stuck as that, when in reality it's not that at all. And I think it's just really, really compelling that they were able to tell something like that without even saying any words, because these Blank-Eyed Girl characters don't even talk. It's all the preconceived notions that we place onto these things that make them what they are. And I find that incredibly compelling. What I love about the ending of this episode so much is the fact that Finn and Jake find this absolutely horrifying, while BMO, who is obviously the youngest character and the one with the most imagination in the entire series, finds it absolutely beautiful. Because BMO is meant to be someone that could see the happiness and the joy and everything that the world has to offer. BMO being so open to what the Blank-Eyed Girls were and now will be, I think is really, really cool. Especially since BMO doesn't have any of those preconceived notions. I personally really love this episode. I think it's incredibly compelling and is a great way to dissect what a lot of people think about when they have that fear of the unknown, and I just think it's really cool. It's a funny episode that touches on a serious theme without being heavy-handed, in my opinion. Genuinely, when I did want to do a Halloween video, I thought about doing a video talking about the moon, but I realized if I'm just going to talk about stakes eventually, which I definitely am, I might as well save my thoughts on the moon for them, because the moon is also very cool, also inspired by Sadako from The Ring. One character inspired by Sadako straight to another would be great, but it evolved into being a video about the fear of the unknown, and I thought it was pretty cool. So hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know if there's any other episodes in particular you want me to do a breakdown of. Take care and have a good one.